Hi, Erin.
Hi, I was trying to join through Instagram on my laptop, but I guess it doesn't work. I have to use my
I
phone.
I was trying to do that too, trying to figure it out because
Mhm.
I'm still new to this, so I was trying to figure it out using it on my computer as well, and I don't know how to do that. I'm still learning how to do it here on the phone too. So
Yeah. Well,
so
it's nice to meet you.
you too, and I want to thank Skylar for linking us up. She's amazing, and who doesn't she know, right?
I
Uh,
know.
I
She's
I think I
awesome.
met everyone
Hi,
through
Skylar.
Skylar. So why don't you introduce yourself? Tell everyone a little bit about yourself, what you do.
Okay, so my name is Erin Goulet. I'm an actor, filmmaker. I fell into filmmaking because I was new to acting and I couldn't get any work, so I started creating my own work. Um, I created a web series called Wild Wild Yogis with my team, Thursday Afternoon Films. Shout out. Hi, guys.
There's
Um,
afternoon films. Nice. Okay. I like the title, the
yeah,
company name.
yeah. Well, we started meeting in my studio apartment about 2 years ago and on Thursday afternoons. So that became our name for our production company.
Hmm.
And then we created 10 short films in 12 months
Wow.
as an exercise, and
Okay.
we took turns doing all the positions behind the camera. Um, and this year we're doing a web series, the one that I just told you about, and it's been really awesome, and the quality is amazing, and we're just really excited about it.
Awesome. Where are you going to have the web series? Is it on YouTube, on Vimeo, or
So,
Amazon?
so we have created the whole series. It's in color. It's being colored right now, but we don't know how we're going to distribute it. So
Okay.
if we just release it on YouTube, that's what will happen. But we don't know. We're new to distribution, so
Okay.
see what happens. We're
Okay.
all we're like web series virgins,
Okay.
so we'll see what
But
happens.
that's good though. I mean, you're learning as you go, and that's important.
Hmm.
So you finished it all, your web series.
Yes.
Were you working when this whole new thing started happening, this pandemic started happening, or were you already not or looking for work? Like, where were you in the stage in your life and professionally wise when this pandemic started, where it suggested to stay home, you know?
Yeah. So as far as the web series goes, we're in post production, so we don't have any more shoots to do. So we're in good standing there. Acting wise, I've just been doing casting director workshops and stuff like that. So those aren't happening anymore.
Right.
Um, but how I make my money is I'm a substitute teacher, so
Okay.
I obviously can't do that anymore.
Right.
Um, I was working with a kid individually, and so that had to end. But I'm in a pretty like privileged situation, being that my husband's still working right now. So I feel like if I don't, it doesn't feel fair to like say that I'm with the non-working masses right now
Hmm.
because so many of my friends are having to like file for food stamps and unemployment and stuff.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
been
think
a lot of that.
I think everyone is in a different spot or situation.
Mhm.
I like, for example, my older brother. I have five brothers. I talk about brothers, and I always say my brother, and it sounds like it's the one
Yeah.
person. But my older brother works for UPS, and he's been working for UPS for years, and he's still doing it. Right now, they're having kind of issues with the union. I probably shouldn't disclose that, but it's too late. I already said it. But they're having issues with the union because a lot of the workers are starting to get sick. The drivers, the delivery truck drivers, are starting to get sick, so they're requesting gloves and masks, and union said no. So they're out there, and I didn't even think of like how that could cause an issue for them. His wife is in the medical field, and so I think she's a surgical tech. Is Shar a surgical tech? Yeah, she's a surgical. My sister-in-law is. So she's a surgical tech. A different sister-in-law.
Yeah.
She's a surgical tech, and so they have the two incomes still coming in. But they're out there, and the risk is up there, and they have three kids living at home. So everyone's different. And my other brother, one of my other older brothers, he just got laid off on Friday, and he was a driver. And his wife was hospitalized this weekend because she works in a vet hospital. So she got bit by a cat. So then there was a whole different type of risk there. So I think
Yeah.
every household is dealing with it differently. I know it's not the same, but we're still all
Yeah.
ironically somehow equally affected by it. Even though we're dealing with it, even though we're dealing with it differently. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Well, my husband's a first responder, so
Oh wow.
we don't have children, which I'm
Mm-hmm.
really grateful for right now, being that I would be a lot more afraid if he were coming home and we had kids about
Mm-hmm.
infecting them. But there's really no way to fully avoid this virus if it's out
Mm-hmm.
there. I mean, he's a cop, so they're like trying not to touch people or arrest people if it's not like absolutely necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and today he had to go to court still. I don't know why court is still open.
Oh, that's weird. I heard
Yeah,
that it was closed. Like, there's different sections that I got because I my side gig is doing paralegal work, and so there's certain things that I can't do. I can't go file some cases or do paperwork because I got notifications that the courthouses are closed. I had someone ask me about a ticket that they received, and they couldn't even go online because they didn't even know how to handle it. And he had a court date that he couldn't attend to because it was closed. So I don't know if it's the area, but I've gotten a lot of notifications that most of the courts that I dealt with filing were closed.
it's
So that's
probably
interesting.
it's probably only for like more serious matters that like if
Okay.
it's a parking violation, you probably don't have to go to court. If you
Okay.
like got caught with like guns on you, then you probably have to go.
That's scary.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother subject there too, because I can't believe people are starting to stockpile on that. I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Well, I think the sheriff like shut that down, and it's
oh, that's
like,
good.
oh, I wanted to talk to you guys about domestic abuse,
Okay.
um, and how law enforcement is handling it right now. I wanted to assure you that because cops they literally have no medical training whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Like the reason why they're paid the way that they do is they have to respond to
Okay.
domestic abuse situations during this time.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they know the person is like a confirmed COVID-19, they still have to go in. So like
Wow.
if you're in a situation where you're with your abuser, call the cops. They have to respond. They will respond. Um, and don't, I mean, it's hard with these situations because one of the main reasons why people get stuck with their abusers is because they feel like they've done something wrong or
Right.
they feel personally responsible.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are able to like name your abuser and tell the cops that they abused you, they will take them away.
Okay.
So
So that's still enforced. Um,
yes.
do we know if, because like I'm learning things as we go here, like I didn't even think about my older brother and him going out there delivering packages and needing masks and gloves. Do we know if are the police officers provided that, or are they going out there without this?
So they have like one mask that they're not like I asked my husband today when he was going to court, I was like, can you wear your mask into the courtroom? And he said no, because there's only one of them. And they are only supposed to wear it if there's a confirmed case.
Oh
So
wow.
they don't have like a lot available to them. And they have gloves, but it's not like when a situation arises. Like yesterday, somebody hit someone with a pipe and was running. Like he had to go and he had to get the guy that hit someone with a pipe. He didn't have time to put gloves on.
Oh
So
wow. That's risky right there.
yeah, so it's like one of those things where like I just feel like I'm glad that we don't have kids because
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to put them at risk. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
also like I'm not in a like we live in there's really no way I can isolate from him because we live in a studio apartment, as you can see. But I'm glad that we're not with anybody that's more vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
because there's really no way that first responders can fully be protected. And we know that the LAPD already has some confirmed cases. So I'm just praying and
Yeah, that's scary. I didn't even think about that because my sister-in-law was released from the hospital yesterday and she kind of let us know how it was. She said that as you're driving to the hospital, there's security that stops you and then they question why you're there. And then, so basically, the security first person that they see is more at risk than anyone else. And then
yeah,
if your symptoms are kind of going towards what the virus symptoms are, and sometimes it's not even linked to the virus, but we all have the same type of
yeah,
symptoms, they go into one side of the hospital, not inside, a tented area. And then she said, like, I got bit by a cat, which I didn't know could be deadly. And she went to a whole different side of the hospital, a tented area. Then they treated her, did a triage there, and then they escorted her into the hospital. So no one that could possibly be infected, as far as they know, would be taken into the hospital. She told me that then if their case is more severe, they're taken to a back side of the hospital in a tent area. Is that correct? That's what you said? They take them to a tent area? Yeah, it's in the, so they don't even go in the building. And then she told me
this is
that in 2 weeks they had 5 confirmed cases at that hospital, and they figured it out in the way that they treated it. So no one that's been confirmed actually entered the hospital. It's all been done outside, and then they send them back home, right? They send them home to isolate. So it's really interesting the way this whole, there's no way of knowing. So
yeah,
that's what's scary. It's not like there's a symptom that's completely different. Everything that I've read is describes like a flu that I've had in the
yeah,
past. Of course, a whole different level of severity. And then there's new things like I heard an announcement that if you're diabetic, you have greater chances of getting it too, like if you're exposed to it. And so I looked at my parents and I was like, okay, they're both got diabetes type 2. So I was just like, all right. And my mom has a whole nother, my mom is literally the one person she needs to be kept away from everyone. And we were warned last year when we went through medical stuff with my mom, and they told us if you have a cold, stay away from your mom. Like, that's it. Like, any little thing, you have to stay away from her because she'll get it and she'll end up in the hospital. And so this brings a whole different type of stress level being her caretaker. So I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm going to try to see you as little as possible, taught her how to watch Netflix. I don't hear from her as much because she's binge watching a lot of Netflix stuff. So that's helped. But now, and you're pointing out your living situation. I have different rooms right now where I'm at. I can walk in the backyard,
yeah.
which you can't see right now. Yeah, there it is. So if I want to walk away from people, from myself, from my dog, because my dog can't stand me right now. She's just like,
Oh,
you gotta go. I'm just like, she's like, this is too much of you. And I'm like, all right. So she stays in my room and I go and take a walk outside. So we kind of switch roles. But I have different areas where I can walk around, pace. I have, different things I can do. What is it that you're doing to not lose your mind? Especially if you're like in a studio, like in a smaller confined space. Like, how are you handling this?
okay. Well, so I have gone through periods of depression and anxiety where I've stayed home and gone kind of crazy. So I kind of know myself well enough to know what I have to do to not get that way. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've done a lot of self-reflection and I know like what I need to do. So there's like this little, I try to get outside like once a day. There's like this little farm at one of the elementary schools across the street where they have like pigs and chickens
Oh,
and like this old tortoise and a goat. So I've been like walking over there and like looking at the animals.
okay. That's
Animals
nice.
are therapeutic to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've been getting dressed and putting on makeup, which I usually don't do regularly anyway. But I've been like getting ready, like I'm going to events every day, and I don't even do that when I actually have somewhere to go. I usually like don't wear makeup, so that's been kind of funny. So like I feel like I'm ready,
Okay.
and my husband got that what's it called? Ring Fit Adventure on, I don't know if you know what that is. It's like a Nintendo game.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's like a way to work out with this ring. It's so dorky.
It sounds
Um,
fun though. It sounds fun.
it's fun because it's like playing a game, so you're not thinking about working out. Because I hate working out just to work out. Like I like to have a goal and like
Same.
yeah. So it's really fun. I did that for like 20 minutes yesterday. I cooked. I've been like I cooked this like chicken noodle soup with these Amish noodles where I like literally rolled out the noodles. I
That's
feel
good though.
I feel kind of like a 1950s housewife with my husband going to work and like making like noodles from scratch.
That's
Um,
good though. So you're occupying your time doing different things and then doing new things that you normally wouldn't do. Because I'm the same.
yeah.
The only difference though is that I'm literally in sweats. I'm in sweats. I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
I've
I'm in
been
leggings today, leggings and my kale sweatshirt.
Okay. Yeah, I've been just lounging. There's times where unless I know I'm gonna run errands, I PJs all day. I've been so lazy and I think that's starting to take its toll on me. So I think I'm gonna have to do what you're suggesting or what you're doing. I don't wear makeup, even like what you said when going out. So that's like a rare thing. I have some there, but it's like I'm trying to figure out like what would be a good way to kill time. Like how yeah, because
Yeah.
I told Skylar yesterday I've watched the same things over and over,
Oh, me
and
too.
I don't even know why. I know I can change it. There's like I have different selections, different options, and for some reason I feel like that little kid that needs to watch Frozen 2 for the like
I'm
20th
just like
time.
that. I'm so like that. I love to watch the same things over and over again. It's comforting. It feels
Right.
like comfort food. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and it's like you gauge out the time too, like, all right, this is like an hour and 30 minutes. And then, okay, now I know I'm half an hour away from this because I know when this happens in the film. So it's really weird how we just get into these weird cycles. We get super comfortable and we don't know how long we're going to be like this. I know that Trump made an announcement that he wants to release the lockdowns. He wants business as usual. I think that's not the best suggestion.
Yeah,
Or
that really scares me. When I was watching that, like my mouth dropped open because I'm like, this is it's really scary seeing what's happening in like Italy right now, and
mm-hmm,
we really do need to flatten the curve, and I really don't want this to be lifted
mm-hmm,
prematurely. Even though it's like it is really scary to be quarantined, it's scarier to not be, in
mm-hmm,
my opinion, because we really need to stop this.
mm-hmm,
So it's hard because he also has an agenda with his businesses.
mm-hmm.
So but I understand the notion of not wanting the economy to crash. Like none of us want that.
Right.
But also like it's scary what's happening with the hospitals. It's like we're supposed to be the wealthiest nation. And this is really pointing out a lot of the problems that have always been there. It's just
Mm-hmm,
like, I think it's bringing to light everything that we've been ignoring as a nation and that really needs to be addressed. It's kind of like ripping the band aid off and being like, this is the open wound that our healthcare system is, and it needs to be fixed, and we can't ignore it anymore. But it's really
yeah.
scary. And
Yeah. It is scary. I know people in different countries that they were told by their government it's like this never existed. And what they mean by that is that you don't owe anything. You're not working, you're not making an income. How are you going to pay this back? So no mortgage, no rent. Like for the time being, it's just like we're on the same playing field here. No utilities owed. We're going to make sure nothing gets cut off. We're going to make sure no one's evicted, and you literally don't owe the time that this is happening. That's the difference between the other countries and how they're handling it, and they're doing that as quickly as possible because it may seem like it's going to hurt the economy, but that helps. You know
mm-hmm.
what I mean? Because it's like it's freezing everything for like a month or two at most is what they're trying to do. and no one's stressing about like, oh my God, I have to make money because I have to pay back, or I got to pay rent, or, you know what I mean? Like, this is what we're
Yeah.
dealing with here. And these are countries that are not socialist countries or
Yeah.
communist countries. And that thought has been implemented in a lot of people in this country in their minds, that if we do that here, then we're automatically a socialist country, then you're a communist country. And that's not true. It's not a forever, idea or tactic that they want to implement forever. It's something that they're saying, this is what we have to deal with now in order to save lives, and to also, we're dealing with different levels of health issues, like depression, anxiety. No one's talked about suicide. Like, how's this going to affect people that are suicidal, if they're stuck in an area where they're already stuck in, or in a dark place in their time, in their life. So there's a lot of different aspects to this, that if we can lessen the stress load, and our government can be facilitate or assist in facilitating that, I think we can all finally be united in that at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense. But if
It
other
totally
countries
does.
are doing it, why can't we do it? It just doesn't, I don't know. It's frustrating to see, and I'm hearing it firsthand from people that I personally know in those other countries, that that's how they're dealing with it. And I'm sitting here and they're saying, like, are you guys doing the same? No. No,
Yeah.
we're even more divided. Like, no, that's not happening here. It's a scary thing. It's super frightening that that's where we're at, and it affects all of us. Even like what you said, you made a good example. You have your husband that's working and you're not, but it's not something, I don't know. Is it something that's gone through your head? Like, okay, because you said it. You're not comparing yourself with people that aren't working at all and don't have an income at all, or are trying to get something coming in. So there is a difference, but we're all dealing with it together.
Yeah. Well, I I don't think there's any benefit, like from what you were saying about like freezing everything. Like I think just like if we just postpone the amount that, like, oh, you don't have to pay rent, but you will have to in 6 months. It's like, how are people are just gonna go into debt.
Mm-hmm.
And I speak as a millennial, like millennials are in enough debt as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we piling on more? I don't know enough about economics to know like what that would do to our economy to freeze everything, but also just because we let people have a longer amount of time to pay stuff off doesn't mean they're automatically going to be able to pay it. They're
Mm-hmm.
just going to be like taking credit cards out and putting themselves more and more in debt.
Mm-hmm.
So like I just, yeah,
It's,
it's
yeah.
it's fucked.
Exactly. That's pretty much exactly what it is. You know, so you've done teaching. I've heard others that do decided to do kind of like an online, uh, what is it called, tutoring.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a couple people approach me, and I'm letting other people know, like, oh, if you need a tutor, here's a tutor
Mm-hmm.
that is good at this subject, or whatever subject they're good at. Is that something that you've tried to do or would want to look into doing, or?
Well, partially, okay, so I feel kind of selfish trying to find a job right now because I don't need to in order to
Okay.
stay afloat. Like my
Okay.
husband makes good money. He's been on the force for 2 years. So like we are fine. My money that I make usually goes towards my ridiculous acting expenses.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm not paying for acting class right now. I'm not paying for those services. I would rather the jobs go to people who really need it right now.
That's awesome. Okay.
That's just how I feel. Like I don't think I should be hustling to find a job. Like I see my friends that are subs that they could, like I'd rather the job go to them.
That's
Um,
awesome. That's
but
just like, that's so awesome to hear, because uh, I don't hear a lot of that. So just thank you for saying that, and doing it, because it's true. There are a lot of people. I kind of feel selfish doing some things, and so I stop or don't do it at all. So it's really good to know that people like you exist. Honestly, especially now. I have some friends that are doing the whole barter. bartering is the way to go. They have chickens that they raise, and so they're saying
That's
like,
so
hey,
cool.
we have, right, they're like, here's all these eggs, who needs eggs, like we'll trade eggs if you have a farm at home and you have cabbage or other vegetables or whatever. If you want to trade, just let us know and we'll put a box out and you can come pick up the eggs and drop off whatever you want to trade for the eggs. So I mean, I think people are getting super creative right now with what they have. um, and I think that's a good way to go and kind of like bring some sort of normalcy to those that are just at home. I'm doing this because I'm trying to bring some structure. I
Yeah, it's
I'm
cool to have something to wake up to do during the.
right. And the thing is, like, I want to promote too. Like, I want to promote your web series. Like, when it's ready, I want to know. Let me know so that we can push it out there and have people know where to watch it. I want to check it out. It sounds really cool.
It's so
Um,
fun. I'm so
so,
excited about it. Like, it's way it's way above and beyond what I thought it would be. Like,
so
it's
you're
just really
proud.
come together. Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about your web series. What made you think of it? Pitch it to me. Like, what can I
Okay.
expect to see?
So it's about a bunch of health and wellness influencers that go on a spiritual healing retreat with this spiritual guru who's like the guru is non-binary, but the guru is also like really sexually attractive to everyone.
Okay.
Um, and it's kind of about the influencers dealing with their demons that are inside them and how that conflicts with their public personas.
Okay.
Dear Universe, today is a big day. Rosa has invited up a bunch of influencers for a yoga and spiritual healing retreat.
Hi, y'all. Welcome to the Wild Rose.
And out through the mouth.
Every wellness brand in the country is going to want to partner with us.
Children in paradise.
I dance with myself.
Sage, that's enough. Okay, we're ready in 3, 2.
Namaste, my moon children.
So it's really fun. I came across the idea. I got diagnosed with PCOS a couple years ago, and I was really depressed and like I TMI, but I like didn't have my period for like 6 months, and I was really depressed. And my sister told me about this influencer that like supposedly cured her PCOS with like all these like health and wellness practices and like eating a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally followed everything this influencer did, like food wise. And I got really restrictive and to the point where it was like probably really unhealthy. And then while I'm following this girl's lifestyle, she kind of had this like emotional breakdown publicly. And she like denounced everything that she said. And she's like, I
Oh
can't
no.
live this restrictive life. And I realized that she didn't really know what she was talking about. And a lot of the people that we follow on social media that are like claiming to like defy what doctors are saying, they don't really know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know necessarily more than you or I would. And they're like preaching this sort of life and people are following them. It's kind of embarrassing.
Right.
So, that out of that idea came this idea of health and wellness influencers and how their lives are actually like not that different than our own, and
Mm-hmm.
they're dealing with some of the same demons that we deal with. So that's kind of what this show's about.
That's awesome. I mean, that sounds interesting. That and you used it. You taken it from real experiences, real life experience that you dealt with. Um, And it is interesting when it comes to social media influencers, because it's true. I've told a couple of people that I don't really believe the hype on social media. Like we all go through some stuff in life. There's no way, like when I see someone post every single day, they're like these amazing things that they're doing, their food for some reason, or this amazing view that they happen to have at this one expensive location, and I'm like, that's awesome, good for you. But we know there's got to be something more there. It's like life is just not like that. That's just not how it is. It throws you a curveball all the time. It's difficult, and I tell people, don't always believe the hype. It's good to see, it's beautiful to watch, but I personally don't like to follow it. And I think that's amazing that's kind of like what you're doing with your web series. It sounds fun. It sounds funny too. Is it like a
It's
comedy?
a comedy.
Awesome.
I'm still working on my pitching skills.
No. It sounds like a comedy. I like it. I like what you're saying, and the fact that it's so personal as well, and that's what led you to do this. I want to watch it. I want to watch it because I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. I'm just saying, like, social media in general, I think it's a different type of issue, if you will.
Totally.
I think it leads to a lot of issues with other people as well, and relationships. My thing personally is like I'm such a nerd when it comes to like games. You know what I mean? Like I like video games not as much as I used to, but if I'm like on my phone or if I'm trying to kill time, I have a lot more apps on games on my phone than anything else. So as soon as like I used up my life on one game, I go to the next app and play another game. I'm sitting there, Candy Crush. I don't do Candy Crusher, but that was an example. You know what I mean? So it's a super interesting how everyone has their own distractions that sometimes can be a little too much. So for me, for example, I had someone that would always get annoyed that I was always on the phone, and I was like, I didn't even realize I was on the phone that much, and I wasn't doing anything. I was like literally just playing stupid games, app games on my phone. And then I ended up being annoyed by this person because they're always on social media and always treating it as if they were some quasi influencer celebrity when they weren't. And so I was just like, well, that's annoying. Like, I get it, but like, I'll respect what you're saying and I'll stop the app game, and which I did. And then this person couldn't stop being this quasi wannabe influencer, which they weren't anywhere near remotely being influencer or celebrity, whatever. So I think it is super interesting how there's certain things in life we just grasp too much. Like this influence that you shared. Is that who went viral? I don't remember who it was because I'm not into the influencers, but there was someone that went viral that said she was a vegetarian or a vegan or something, and then it ended up exposing to everyone that she wasn't. Or is that a different influencer?
This is a different influencer, but the story I feel like is happening with a lot of them. The one girl that I followed was like gluten-free, dairy-free, basically pretty much a grain-free diet.
Okay.
With like no sugar, and I lived like that for 2 years.
Did it help?
It did until I don't know how much of it was psychosomatic.
Okay.
And I was obsessing over like bloating and like looking perfect and like trying to feel perfect. And I feel like I was almost sick in my way of thinking about food because I was being so obsessive. Like I couldn't even go out to lunch with my husband without being annoying.
Okay.
And like I was just like that annoying girl at every restaurant, obsessing. Like if there's a trace of gluten, I'm going to die, which is not the case.
Right.
And I was like, life is not worth living like this when you're obsessing about food so much that like, I don't know how much of it was real, how much of it was imagined. Like right now I've started eating normal again. Like I've just tried to eat food that makes me feel good and, not be a psychopath about food.
Right.
But basically what I took from her character like she got canceled shortly before she denounced everything for her white privilege, and like her lifestyle was so like exclusive to a certain group of people that could afford to like go to Whole Foods and like farmers markets, and she was like culturally appropriating things and not realizing it. And when she got called out on the internet for it, she was like deleting comments.
Oh, okay.
Particularly by people of color, and then they were calling her out and she got canceled. So that is the place where you find my character in the show, Hallie.
Uh-huh.
She's reading a book about white privilege in the bathtub, crying and feeling sorry for herself. That is where you will find my character at the beginning of the series.
Okay, I like it.
Trying to figure out exactly what this white fragility thing is that people are telling her about.
Okay.
She's trying to be woke. She's not. So that is where my character starts out.
I like it.
Yeah.
See, I want to watch this. I literally, you have to let me know as soon as it's up, wherever you get it up, because I want to let everyone know to watch this too. I'll spread it far and wide as awesome. I can, because it sounds great. It sounds great, and it sounds so now. Like, you know, I'm glad you made this. And it couldn't be more perfect with the timing too. I'm not talking about the pandemic, just in general with what's going on with influencers. That's hitting it on the nose, because it's so true. It's funny how some people they can be somewhat famous on social media, depending on what social media they're famous on, and it could just be because of whatever little thing that they are trending for. Like if it was a photo, and all of a sudden that became a trend, and now they use it. And I get it, because if I was younger, I'd do the same thing. Like, oh, okay, cool. Like, you like that I can burp the ABCs or whatever. Like, I don't know, but that's just I can't do that. But I'm just saying, like, as an example. So it's interesting how that's what it's become. Like we're living in a different world where I think since the Kardashians came in, it's kind of like they made reality TV a whole different thing, because they didn't come up with that. That was the real world. There was actually a different documentary series that was on PBS before the real world, but the real world made it for everyone, and that was like the trend. And then everyone else wanted to do the same thing. And then the writers went on strike, and then the Kardashians were born, and then from there you got people having their attention span like this much. And we have all these apps that everyone's becoming insta famous, or now it's TikTok, and then because Snapchat is over, so now it's TikTok. And so it's like whatever the wave of the trend is, isn't that what it is? Vine.
TikTok is hilarious, because like I downloaded it. I don't post on it, but I watched it for a few days, and it's really funny. Like, it's so addicting, but I stopped going on it because, but like I said, I'm a substitute teacher at a middle school. So like the kids are like, Miss Erin, be in our TikTok. No. And sometimes they'll be like doing TikToks, and I'll be in the background of it. So I don't know like how many TikToks
you're in.
Like twirling my hair like an idiot, and the kids dancing with me in the background. But I mean, I try not to knock new things, because like I definitely believe that millennials are totally relevant. Like, we're not relevant anymore. It's definitely Gen Z. And I try not to like put down the generations below me. And just accept that I'm aging, and that I'm no longer relevant.
That's me. You're describing me. The thing is like, I try not to, and I try to get involved in it to learn from it, because I think it is a wave. It's definitely a wave of things that are happening. That's what I mean, like Vine, and then it died. And I didn't get into the Vine. Like, everyone was talking about it. I was like, what the hell is this Vine thing? By the time I was going to try to download it and understand it, it had already been buried. It's 6 feet under, it's gone. And I was like, well, that sucks. And then I started watching the Vine videos on YouTube, and I was like, that's what I missed. That's hilarious. some of these people that would do the, what is it called, like song times or whatever it was. I forget what the trends were, but I find them to be super hilarious. And I started following these people on Facebook and Instagram, and it was the same thing. Then it went, like I said, to Snapchat. I downloaded it. I couldn't really get into it. But then I do have TikTok downloaded. I think it's hilarious. I think when I first downloaded it, I watched it for like, yeah, you did that. I watched my brother. I watched it for like hours, just watching.
It's addicting.
It super is like, it's so addicting. Like, and it's different things that are so silly and then creative, because it's like such bull, but you just can't stop watching it. Like, I like the art things that they do. Like, look at how I did this. Like, oh, I'm gonna do this wall with every single comment or whatever it is, and then they do different on the wall. It's stuff like that I'm just watching in awe, because how creative people are. So I can't knock that down. I mean, I think it's great. It's just interesting to ride that wave and seeing who's riding it. Or I'm the person on the beach watching people ride the wave. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting there watching and going like, that's awesome. Like, I can't do that. That's so cool. Good for them, But it's interesting. It's just super interesting.
Yeah, that's why I feel like I never set out to be a filmmaker. I wanted to be an actor, but I realized how much of an observer I am of life, and I'm not that fun. Like, I just love watching people and like how culture interacts, and I love being like a fly on the wall,
right?
In watching people that are like really good at things do their thing, and I'm always telling stories in my head about like, oh, what world would I set this in? How would I tell this as a story, rather than participating? Like, I feel kind of lame in that way. Like, I'm not always.
That's creative.
I'm not always a participant in life. I'm kind of an observer of it, and I just want to retell it and show it like through the lens that I see it. Because I always view everything as like, I always put like a comedic lens on things, kind of like a weird comedic lens, satirical lens on things, and I just want to be able to like show people like, view this in the way that I see it. Like, I want to show people it that way.
So you didn't realize how creative you were and how much of a filmmaker you are, like a storyteller, until you got into acting? Is that what it was?
Yeah, well, I was like, I kept wanting to find like some like male director to like, that where I'm like his muse, and he'll just want me in all of his films. And I realized I was like, I'm not that intriguing. I don't think, and I always thought that like the men had all the answers. Like every male filmmaker I would meet, because I didn't realize that women could do that, Right. So I would be like, oh my gosh, I gotta get like in his thing, and I gotta get, but then I'm like, wait, none of the, like, no one is like dying, because I'm not Megan Fox, like, I'm not like the type of muse that a man would want for their film. So I realized I have to create the shit myself. And I'll be my own muse, I'll tell stories through my lens, because and then I realized that my ideas were better than a lot of like the men that I was meeting. Not in a,
No, I know what you mean. You're not dissing them, but I get what you're saying.
Really arrogant. I know, I love men, I do, but we have their ideas are already out there.
Right.
You can watch it. And I also realized that a lot of the films that I love from childhood, and a lot of the TV shows that I love have female showrunners and female directors, and I didn't even know it. Like, I'm like, this is amazing. Why is this different? And I realized it is from a different lens. It's from a female lens, and that's why it felt different. So
that's true. This person's Kat Larkin, I don't know who you are, but she's on point, saying be your own muse. That's right. You have to be your own muse. Good point. That's your best friend?
It's not, I don't know if we can, she's my best friend, so she has to be nice. Yeah.
But she's being honest, so I don't think it's not nice. She knows you well enough, so she's telling it like it is. So I'm glad that you were able to see that, because that is true. seeing the perspective and not realizing that this is being told from a perspective that you can relate to. Because this whole time, this industry, we thought it, and it has been run by men. And there's, that's fine. I'm not saying that, not that that's fine, but I'm saying like now that women are being more vocal and doing their own shows and films and being more artistic, I think that's important too. And it's been helping us. And that's why we started Female Filmmakers Fuse. And I think that's amazing that you were able to go back and see that a lot of things that you liked had that female voice without you noticing. It's important.
It's so weird because I'm like, why? Like, I love this. And so many of the things that I loved, like even from the 90s, were made from women. And I'm like, this is awesome. This is awesome. Yeah.
Exactly.
But of course, I do love men. I'm married to one.
Right.
So I'm not trying to shit on men,
Right.
I think they're great. I think they're cute.
I have 5 brothers. I understand, so it's like, I'm the only daughter. I'm the only sister. So I have nothing but respect for them. And I think that's part of what played into who I am, because I'm very independent and strong-minded, and it's how I was raised. And I've watched how my brothers were raised to be respectful towards women and be gentlemen, but at the same time, like, it's just interesting. I think a lot of it has to do with how you're raised and what your upbringing were just outside of the house, the area. It's a lot of things that play into our life that makes us who we are,
Totally. Yeah. Well, I was raised by, my dad is a fireman who had 3 daughters.
Awesome.
So, like, we grew up going dirt bike riding, and like he raised us like he probably would have raised boys.
Right.
So, I don't know. That probably bleeds into it a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, it does. It really does. So let me ask you this, as we're going to start, ending this here.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me some recommendations that you might have of things to watch, read, whatever recommendations you have, and then you're gonna let me know when your show's out. So I'm gonna push that out there, honestly, because I want to watch it and I'm gonna help put that out there. So before you give those recommendations, one more time, what's the name of the web series that we should be looking out for?
It's called Wild Wild Yogis.
Love it. Okay.
And you can follow Thursday Afternoon Films on Instagram. My Instagram is set to private because I don't like, it's not like a business Instagram. So you can follow Thursday Afternoon Films if you want to see the progress of it.
Awesome.
What was the other question?
Things that you can recommend while we're quarantined, if you will.
Okay, so highly recommend rereading Judy Blume books.
Yes. Yes.
I have like a whole stack of them that I started reading them when I was working at the school, because there was a library full of them, and I was reading like the preteen books, and I ordered the teenage ones to read, but one of my favorite ones that she wrote is called Summer Sisters.
Okay.
And they're going to be creating a Hulu show out of
Nice.
it. So it would be a good time to read Summer Sisters by Judy Blume. Also, one of my favorite books, Ernest Hemingway, A Movable Feast. It's a great escape right now.
Yes. Yeah. That's good.
It takes place in Paris. It's so romantic. Takes you out of what's going on right now. As far as films, my favorite film is Now and Then.
Okay.
Written and directed by women. I saw it at the Hollywood Cemetery, Forever Cemetery. The writer, it's about her life.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Now and Then Foxfire, which is 1996.
Okay.
Movie with Angelina Jolie. It's incredible. Also, I just found out that it was directed by a woman.
Okay.
And then TV shows, I'm obsessed with anything Amy Sherman Palladino. So Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, if you haven't watched it.
Yes.
I fall asleep to Gilmore Girls every night. So
Nice.
comfort food. And I also am watching Good Girls right now.
Okay.
Which also has a female showrunner. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great recommendations. I do want to say what your best friend just stated here. To go on Thursday AF filmmakersfuse.com, which is your production company's website, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I'm gonna do like this little live video that we did will be on YouTube. I'll share it on the Female Filmmakers Fuse Facebook page. I'm gonna see if I can put it on here on Instagram afterwards. If not, I'll go ahead and really point to that website so people can follow the website and find out when your web series is out. And then let me know when it's out too, because then I'll do another shout out for it. And then once this whole quarantine's over, I used to do a weekly podcast that's supposed to be coming back up. I'd love you to come on. It's at LA Talk Radio. I'd love for you to come on as a guest because I think you're amazing. And and we can go ahead and plug the web series. Hopefully it'll be out by then too.
Yeah, that would.
But I do want to thank you for chatting with me and taking the time to share your experience through this weird, interesting moment in our life. And if there's anything you want to say before we go, please feel free to go ahead.
Okay, well, it's so nice to meet you. Thank you for having me on. It's fun to have like a reason to wake up and talk to other filmmakers. But just God bless everyone. Stay safe. The police are out there protecting us. We don't need to buy ammunition.
Yes.
So, don't worry. The police aren't medically trained, so they're not going to be out there doing medical stuff. They're just here to make sure we don't all die. So
exactly. So thank your husband. So thank you to your husband for being a first responder, and you too, please keep safe. And everyone that's watching, thank you for joining in. Like I said, I'm going to share this on YouTube under Female Filmmakers Fuse. I'll send you the link so you can share it as well. And again, thank you and have the rest of your wonderful Tuesday. I don't even know what day it was.
I know. What is it? I don't know. Okay.
All right. Bye.